Hi friend, I am Margot Starbuck, and at WordMelon, I help writers discover how publishers think so they can deliver what publishers want. Let's say you're looking at online dating profiles. You find one that boasts, "I'm hilarious. Are you persuaded?" No. In fact, it's likely your insides want to resist, push back. You've been told, but you've been offered no evidence. But let's say you read a profile that says, "I love online dating, said no one ever." Now that person's a little witty. You're persuaded because you were shown and not told. I'm not going to beat around the bush. The number one rule of good writing, of strong communication, is simple. Show, don't tell. Showing serves your audience. So, online dating profile, show, don't tell. But it's all these other forms of persuasive communication as well. College application essay, show, don't tell. The movie Spanglish is the college application essay for Princeton University by high school student Cristina Moreno. Her father left the family when she was a young girl. She paints this scene. Her mom squats down at eye level and says, "One tear, just one, so make it a good one." She doesn't have to tell the audience that she was sad. She shows it. Showing is more compelling than telling, and here's why. A reader is unlikely to be persuaded by what she is told. When we're told something, our insides want to resist, challenge, disprove an author's proposition. But when we're shown, when we're offered evidence, when we have the opportunity to discover it for ourselves, then we're persuaded. As a writer, you're taking the reader on a journey of discovery. When you show, the reader gets to see what you saw, hear what you heard, taste what you tasted. Put yourself in the reader's shoes. If you're the reader, do you want to be told, "Raleigh scored a run"? Or do you want to be shown, barreling toward home, each stride stretching further than the last, Raleigh dropped to the dirt, skidding fearlessly toward the waiting enemy? When you show, the reader is on a journey of discovery. But when you take that shortcut, when you tell, you rob them of that journey. One ancient storyteller understood how people work. And one day, a guy asks Jesus, "Who should I consider to be my neighbor?" If Jesus had told his audience, the neighbor is the one who is radically other than you are. They have zero idea what that means for their lives. But Jesus introduces them to this guy who saw a need, heard a cry, and helped. Showing is persuasive, it's compelling, it's got grip, it's sticky because you've offered evidence. And here's the magic. Once you've shown the reader by offering story, dialogue, sensory language, then you can tell. In the case of Jesus' story, the telling is as simple as go and do likewise. And your telling really can be that simple. Because when you show first, it's like the reader has a hook to hang his hat on. Here's how it works. When you begin with the showing, it's like you've given the reader a piece of sticky Velcro, so that when you get to the teaching, the concept, the big idea, there's something there to which it can stick, right? It gives it more grip. But if you had started with the concept, love your neighbor, or kids need boundaries, or practicing self-care is important, the reader doesn't have that Velcro, the story, the context, to help him process and digest the idea. He doesn't know what it looks like in a life like his. But once you've shown, those specifics help your telling or your teaching to make sense. And I want you to hear that something magical and wonderful happens in the reader's brain when you show. Take Jesus' story. It's likely your reader has never ridden a donkey and never will ride a donkey. But Because he's seen the specifics of one person's story who's loving his neighbor, it actually ignites in his brain what the concept, loving his neighbor, could look like in his life. When we're all up in our own writing, that line between showing and telling can feel a little blurry because we already know the story, so our brains are filling in the details that the reader needs. To show, employ story. Our brains are wired for story. And you know why so many pastors begin their sermons with a story? It's effective communication because it's how we're wired. To show, offer dialogue. Don't tell your reader that your boss was passive aggressive. Let her listen in on a conversation where you've turned in your work and your boss says, well, if that's the best you can do. The dialogue shows instead of you telling. To show, appeal to the reader's senses. Sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. Sensory details are sticky. They capture the reader's attention and imagination. You serve the reader by engaging her senses. The number one rule of good writing is show, don't tell. Writer friend, you can do this.